Hey, it's Rob Dial Jr., and welcome to the Mindset Mentor podcast. Before we dive in today, let me ask you something real quick. Do you wake up tired? Do you hit that snooze button multiple times? Do you need 3 cups of coffee just to feel somewhat human? Yeah, me too for a long time. But here's the thing, being tired all the time isn't normal. It's not just part of life. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why you're exhausted and the 4 game-changing strategies that will help you get your energy back. So let's dive in. Look, I want to start with something that most people don't want to admit, but desperately need to hear. Your sleep is garbage. And I don't mean you're not getting enough hours in bed. I mean, the quality of your sleep is terrible because your mind won't shut up. You're physically in bed, but mentally, you're still at work. You're still replaying that conversation with your boss. You're still thinking about that text message you sent 3 hours ago. You're running through tomorrow's to-do list like you're preparing for a final exam. Here's what's actually happening. You crawl into bed at 11 o'clock, maybe even earlier if you're trying to be good about it. You set your alarm, you get comfortable, and then your brain decides it's showtime. Suddenly, you're thinking about that email you forgot to send. You're worried about whether you locked the front door. You're replaying an argument from 2 weeks ago and coming up with all the perfect comebacks you should have said. Your body is ready to rest, but your mind is throwing a full-blown party up there. And this isn't just annoying, this is destroying the quality of your sleep. See, when your nervous system is activated, when your mind is racing, your body cannot enter deep restorative sleep. You might be in bed for 8 hours, but you're only getting maybe 4 hours of actual quality rest. That's why you wake up feeling like you got hit by a truck. That's why you need an IV drip of coffee just to function. It's not that you're not sleeping enough. It's that the sleep you're getting is low quality because you never gave your brain permission to clock out. Most people think they have a sleep problem. They don't. They have a mind management problem. They've never learned how to create a boundary between their waking life and their rest. They treat their brain like it's a 24/7 operation, and then they wonder why they're exhausted all the time. So here's what you need to do, and I'm serious about this. You need to create what I call a mental closing time. Just like a store closes at 9 p.m. and doesn't let customers keep shopping, your mind needs a closing time too. And that closing time needs to happen at least 30 minutes before you actually get into bed. Here's how you do it. 30 minutes before bed, you grab a journal or even just a piece of paper, and you do a brain dump. You write down everything that's bouncing around in your head, every worry, every to-do, every random thought. You don't need to solve anything. You don't need to organize it. You just need to get it out of your head and onto paper. Because here's the thing, your brain keeps replaying those thoughts because it's afraid you'll forget them. It's trying to help you. But when you write them down, you're telling your brain, hey, I've got this handled. We'll deal with this tomorrow. You can rest now. And then you need to create a physical ritual that signals to your brain that the day is over. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes. Maybe it's some light stretching. Maybe it's just sitting in silence and doing some deep breathing. Whatever it is, it needs to be consistent. Your brain loves patterns. When you do the same thing every night before bed, your brain starts to recognize the pattern and it begins to wind down automatically. The bottom line is this: you cannot expect your body to rest while your mind is still at work. You have to train your brain that bedtime is not problem-solving time. It's not planning time. It's not worry time. It's rest time. And when you finally give your mind permission to shut down, that's when the real sleep happens. That's when you wake up actually feeling refreshed instead of feeling like you need another 8 hours just to recover from the night before. Now let's talk about something that's probably going to sting a little bit, but you need to hear it. You're addicted to being busy. And I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not addicted to being busy. I'm just busy because I have to be. Really. Let me ask you this. When was the last time someone asked you how you're doing and you didn't say busy or crazy or swamped? When was the last time you had a free evening and you actually enjoyed it instead of feeling guilty about not being productive? Here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. We've turned busy into a status symbol. We wear it like a badge of honor. We brag about how packed our calendars are. We talk about how we're juggling 15 different projects like it makes us important, like it proves our worth. But here's what's actually happening. You're running yourself into the ground. You're saying yes to everything because you're afraid that saying no makes you seem lazy or uncommitted or not a team player. You've got work commitments. You've got family obligations. You've got social events you don't even want to go to, but you feel like you should. You've got hobbies that used to bring you joy, but now feel like items on a checklist. Your calendar looks like a game of Tetris where you're desperately trying to fit one more block in before the whole thing collapses. And you know what? Eventually, it does collapse. The block that collapses is you, because being constantly busy isn't productivity. It's just motion. It's activity without intention. You're doing 1,000 things, but how many of those things actually matter? How many of those things are actually moving you toward the life you want to live? Or are you just filling time because you're uncomfortable with stillness? Because you've convinced yourself that if you're not doing something, you're not valuable. Let me tell you something. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about being intentional with your time and your energy. Because your energy is not unlimited. You're not a machine. You're a human being with a finite amount of energy every single day. And every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your priorities, you're saying no to something that does. So here's what you need to start doing right now. Before you commit to anything, and I mean anything, ask yourself one simple question. Does this align with my priorities, or am I just filling time? That's it. That one question will change your life if you actually use it. Because when you start getting honest with yourself, you'll realize that half the stuff on your calendar doesn't need to be there. You'll realize you're doing things out of obligation, out of guilt, out of fear of missing out, but not because they actually serve you. And here's the hard part. You need to learn to say no. Not maybe. Not let me check my calendar and get back to you. When you already know the answer is no, just no. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm not available. That's it. No long explanation, no apology, no justification, because every time you say yes when you mean no, you're stealing energy from yourself. You're borrowing from tomorrow's reserves to pay for today's obligations. Listen, protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot show up for the people and the things that actually matter if you're completely drained from doing 100 things that don't. And here's what's wild. When you start saying no to the things that don't serve you, you suddenly have energy for the things that do. You have space to breathe. You have time to actually rest and recover. Stop treating busy like it's a competition you're trying to win, because the prize for being the busiest person you know is burnout, exhaustion, and resentment. And trust me, that's not a prize worth having. All right, let's get real about something that most people don't want to talk about because it requires them to actually change their habits. Your body is running on cheap fuel. And I'm not trying to be your nutritionist or your doctor here, but I need you to understand something fundamental. You cannot put garbage into your body and expect to feel amazing. It doesn't work that way. You wouldn't put regular gas in a Ferrari and expect peak performance, would you? So why are you doing it to your own body? Let me paint a picture for you. You wake up tired because your sleep was terrible. So what do? You skip breakfast or you grab something quick, a donut, a bagel, maybe some sugary cereal if you're feeling fancy. You wash it down with a giant coffee loaded with sugar. And for about 30 minutes, you feel pretty good. You've got energy. You're ready to take on the world. But then what happens? Around 10 or 11 in the morning, you crash hard. Your energy tanks, your focus disappears. You feel like you need a nap. So what do? You grab another coffee, maybe an energy drink. Maybe you hit the vending machine for some chips or a candy bar, and boom, you're back up again. For a little while, until you crash again. And this cycle repeats itself all day long. You're on a blood sugar roller coaster and you don't even realize it. You think you're just tired. You think you just need more caffeine. But what's really happening is your body is screaming at you, stop giving me junk and give me real fuel. Here's how it actually works. When you eat processed foods, when you eat sugar, when you eat refined carbs, your blood sugar spikes really fast. And when your blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to bring it back down. But it doesn't just bring it back down to normal. It often overshoots. So you go from high energy to low energy in a matter of hours. And then you're stuck in this exhausting cycle of peaks and valleys all day long. You're never actually stable. You're never actually energized. You're just riding this wave of ups and downs until you finally crash at night. And I get it. You're busy. You don't have time to meal prep. You don't have time to cook elaborate meals. You're grabbing whatever's convenient. But here's the thing, convenient is costing you your energy. Fast food is costing you your energy. Skipping meals is costing you your energy. And all those energy drinks and sugary snacks, they're not giving you energy. They're stealing it from your future self. So what do you do instead? You start treating food like information, because that's what it is. Every single thing you eat is sending a message to your cells. It's either saying, hey, here's what you need to function at your best, or it's saying, good luck figuring this out. When you eat whole foods, real food that doesn't come in a package with 15 ingredients you can't pronounce, your body knows what to do with it. When you include protein with every meal, you stabilize your blood sugar. You avoid those crashes. You maintain steady energy throughout the day. And hydration. Can we talk about hydration for a second? Most people are walking around chronically dehydrated and they don't even know it. They're drinking coffee all day, maybe some soda, maybe an energy drink, but actual water. They're lucky if they get a glass or two. And then they wonder why they have headaches, why they can't focus, why they feel sluggish. Your body is like 70% water. When you're dehydrated, everything slows down. Your brain slows down. Your digestion slows down. Your energy tanks. Look, I'm not saying you need to be perfect. I'm not saying you can never have pizza or ice cream or whatever you love. But I am saying that if you're constantly tired, you need to look at what you're putting in your body. Because you can't out-supplement a bad diet. You can't out-sleep bad nutrition. Your body is the only place you have to live. Start fueling it like you actually want to feel good. Here's something that's going to blow your mind if you've never thought about it this way. You know what separates a professional athlete from everyone else? It's not just that they train harder. It's that they recover harder. They understand that the magic doesn't happen during the workout. The magic happens during the recovery. That's when the muscles rebuild. That's when the body gets stronger. That's when the adaptation happens. But you've completely forgotten how to recover. You don't even think recovery is necessary. Let me ask you something. What does your day actually look like? You wake up and immediately check your phone. Before your feet even hit the floor, you're already in work mode. You're reading emails. You're scrolling through messages. You're consuming news and information and everybody else's problems. Then you rush through getting ready. You skip breakfast or you eat it while you're doing 3 other things. You get in your car, you jump on a call, and from that moment on, you are going at 100 miles per hour until you literally collapse into bed at night. There's no pause button. There's no halftime. There's no moment where you actually stop and let your nervous system calm down. You're in fight or flight mode from the second you wake up until the second you pass out. And then you wonder why you're exhausted. You wonder why you feel burnt out. You wonder why you can't think clearly anymore. It's because you're treating your body like a machine that doesn't need maintenance. But here's the reality. You're not a machine. You're a human being. And human beings need recovery. We need periods of rest built into our day, not just at night when we sleep, but throughout the day, micro recoveries. Little moments where we give our nervous system a chance to reset, where we give our brain a chance to process, where we give our body a chance to breathe. And I'm not talking about taking a 2-hour lunch break or disappearing for a spa day, although those are great too. I'm talking about small intentional moments throughout your day, a 10-minute walk outside where you're not on your phone, just walking, just moving, just breathing fresh air. Or maybe it's 5 minutes of deep breathing exercises where you're actually focusing on slowing down your heart rate and calming your nervous system. Maybe it's stepping outside and getting some sunlight on your face because your body needs that natural light to regulate your circadian rhythm and your energy levels. But most people don't do this. Most people wear their non-stop grind like it's a badge of honor. They brag about how they worked through lunch. They talk about how they haven't taken a vacation in 2 years. They glorify the hustle like burning yourself out is the goal. And listen, I'm all for working hard. I'm all for chasing your dreams and putting in the effort. But there's a difference between working hard and running yourself into the ground. You cannot sustain high performance without recovery. It's impossible. Even your phone needs to be recharged. Even your car needs maintenance. Why do you think you're any different? Why do you think you can just keep going and going and going without ever stopping to refuel and rebuild? Here's what I need you to understand. Rest is not lazy. Rest is strategic. When you rest, when you actually give yourself permission to recover, you come back stronger. You come back sharper. You come back with more creativity, more focus, more energy. But when you skip recovery, when you push through exhaustion, when you ignore what your body is telling you, you're not being productive. You're being destructive. Your body is literally screaming at you to slow down. It's giving you every signal. The fatigue, the brain fog, the irritability, the getting sick all the time. These aren't just random things happening to you. These are messages. And the message is clear, you need to recover. Stop glorifying the grind and start respecting the recovery. Because the strongest version of you isn't the one who never stops. It's the one who knows when to rest. All right, let me bring this all together for you because this is important. If you've been feeling tired all the time, if you wake up exhausted, if you're dragging yourself through the day fueled by coffee and willpower, I need you to understand something. This isn't normal. This isn't just part of being an adult. This isn't something you just have to accept. You're tired because of choices you're making every single day, and the good news is you can start making different choices right now. Your mind won't shut up at night, so create that mental closing time. Dump those thoughts onto paper and give your brain permission to rest. You're addicted to being busy, so start protecting your energy like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Learn to say no. Stop filling your calendar with things that don't actually matter. You're running on cheap fuel, so start eating real food, drinking actual water, and treating your body like it deserves premium gas, not the bargain stuff. And you've forgotten how to recover, so build those micro breaks into your day. Stop glorifying the grind and start respecting the rest. Here's the thing, you only get one body, one mind, one life. And you can either spend it exhausted, burnt out, and running on empty, or you can make the changes necessary to actually feel good, to wake up with energy, to move through your day with clarity and focus, to go to bed knowing you gave your best without destroying yourself in the process. This isn't about perfection. You're not going to nail all 4 of these things tomorrow, but you can start with one. Pick one thing from today's episode and commit to it for the next week. Just one. Maybe it's the journal before bed. Maybe it's saying no to one thing that doesn't serve you. Maybe it's drinking more water or taking a 10-minute walk. Start there, because small changes create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to have energy. You deserve to wake up excited about your day instead of dreading it. But nobody's going to do this for you. You have to decide that you're worth the effort. You have to decide that your energy, your health, your well-being matters more than being busy or pleasing everyone else or running yourself into the ground. So make the choice, starting today, starting right now. Take back your energy, take back your life. And remember, you're not going to feel better by accident. You're going to feel better by intention. All right, that's what I've got for you today. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.